Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. Welcome to Mini Indie Game Reviews, a place where I'll be reviewing indie games that are quick, sweet, and straight to the point. Today we're going to be looking at Flow, which is an indie title coming from the studio known as dyxnt Company. Now, to many, people will consider it their first debut title, but it's not their first game, so to speak. Actually, their first item was called Cloud, and that was made by migrs1e17, who will go on to become the designer for the game's Flower and Journey. Cloud came out before Kelly Santiago and migrs1e17 formed dyxnt Company, so it's kinda like their unofficial first game. However, it was Flow to receive a console release through the help of Sony Interactive Entertainment, who will provide dyxnt Company with the necessary tools to get out Flow and then later on, Flower and Journey. And as the years will go by, they will also have the help from Annapurna Interactive, who will come in as publishers for Flower and Journey as well. So with all that said, today I'll be rocking out with the PS4 version, which I'll be playing on my PS5. So let's get into it. Flow is nice within a simplistic and unique depiction of its creatures inhabiting what could seemingly be an underwater aquatic environment. If you assume that these things you see are like some microscopic bacteria, I wouldn't disagree with you. The designs of these things are kinda cool, and seeing how the camera clearly depicts what's in front of you and blurs what lies within the context of the background leaves wonder to the player to be curious about what lies next. Then on top of that, the different colors, sometimes neon, is a nice touch. Noticeably, depending on the type of creature you play as, contributes to the backgrounds. But overall, how this game looks is, well, it's very relaxing. As far as the story goes, there is none. I wouldn't even know what to call this rather than a psychological stress reliever and time killer. To oversimplify Flow in its gameplay, you play as this abstract looking creatures whose only sole ability is to eat whatever is moving within its direction and grow larger every time you devour something. After an amount is consumed, there will be two creatures floating around loosely, one that's blue and the other one that's red. If you eat the one that is blue, you will float more upwards towards the surface from where the player will always start off at. But if you eat the red one, the player goes deeper into the lower levels where new beings await you. One thing to take note of is being aware of either you or your surrounding denizens turning red. When this happens, it means that ones become very predative and dangerous. Whenever the player eats something that triggers this, you'll notice that you can move a whole lot faster and you'll have a larger range of consuming others. But be mindful though, because your food can also have defensive measures or ways of devouring parts of you as well. This is shown by the circles that glow each time you eat something. Consider this like your health. When it's devoured, you are taken back to the previous upper level. This is pretty much the fundamentals of Flow, but little additions are adding on depending on a few things such as which creature you play as. Once the player goes deeper and deeper within the lower levels, the options of playing as a new being, one that you probably already seen within your playthrough, becomes available to you. This is where those new additions within the mechanics come into play. Keep in mind that when you start off, you play as this worm parasite thing, and then you get this jellyfish that can spin itself like a helicopter propeller to draw its victims and can be used to defend off against things that can cause damage to you, kinda like a shield. However, if left spinning for long periods of time, it could lose control and go haywire. And then next thing you know, you'll be playing within something that has the shape of a dolphin. This thing can do multiple dashes limited to the amount of insignias it has on its back, which can be replenished by devouring others. But as you play as the different creatures, it's not only the player that gets an advancement within their abilities, but also to think about their approach, especially when it comes to other creatures. You see, some creatures have multiple cores that you have to eat before you can take them down and devour their remains. Some can turn invisible, some can run off at the sight of trouble, and some can create force fields that can bounce you back. Now with all that covered, the controls was something that I needed to get a little bit of adjustment to. Just like the game's successor Flower, the direction of your movement is all based on you actually turning and rotating your actual controller in that direction. In my honest opinion, it's not as polished as it is within the Flower, where the plane is three-dimensional as opposed to this two-dimensional presentation. But once you finally get used to the controls, it's all downhill from there. As far as the sound design for Flow, get used to hearing chimes and other things. You'll know when something is good when chimes are high pitched and when something is either changed or bad dealing with the lower pitch sound. This underwater aquatic space is nice to hear, but it's really the music that takes center stage. The music of Flow was done by dyxnt and can be described as the type of tunes that you play when trying to meditate, or is just to put in the background for you to sleep to in order to relieve stress. Sounds played by the instruments, harmonizing vocals and muffled sound effects of creatures moving throughout the depths of the waters permeate the whole entire soundtrack. And if you see any of these titles up on the screen, well, get used to hearing dyxnt's name. I provide links to where you can get a listen for yourself in the description below, along with its official website. this is a very simple game in concept and execution. It's very straightforward and to the point with only instructions given on these 3 prompts. It contains some hidden quirks through experimentation, and as an overall experience, it's pretty much alright. After digging up some history, it would appear that this game started off as a simple flash game, and it shows. Flow is now available for PS3, PS4, PlayStation Vita, and PC for only $6. But again, I recommend purchasing the Journey Collection if you're rocking with the PS4 version like I am. There is an expansion that side with extra features and content for only $2 on the PS4. Links will be in the description below if you want a copy. And until next time, stay safe out there, and peace y'all.
And don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit up that notification bell, and I gotta go.